This evening, we begin with the recognition of Anna Castro, a teacher at DuPont Manual High School, for being selected as a Clays Noble Educator of Distinction. The award recognizes outstanding educators who make a positive difference in the lives of their students. The Clays Noble Educator of Distinction is a special program of the National Society of High School Scholars, which honors educators worldwide and encourages young people around the world to strive for excellence and to embrace their responsibility for world betterment as our future world leaders and innovators. Board Chair Diane Porter, please come forward and congratulate Anna. Joining in the recognition is her principal, Jerry Mays. Next, we have the honor of recognizing Michelle Lowe, teacher at Moore Traditional School, for being named the Kentucky Exceptional Child Education Teacher of the Year. Michelle has been a special education teacher in multiple disability self-contained classrooms since 2007. She is a national board certified exceptional needs specialist in early childhood through young adulthood. She serves as a mentor to those pursuing national certification and to beginning special educators. Michelle credits fate for first placing her in a classroom for individuals with special needs as a paraprofessional, where it was instantly clear that this is what she was meant to do. Board member Carol Ann Haddad, please come forward to extend congratulations to Michelle. Joining in the recognition is her principal, Vicki Letty.
This evening marks the last meeting of two of our board members, Board Member Carol Ann Haddad and Debbie Westland. The board and the superintendent would be remiss if we did not thank them for their service with us on the board. So we want to take this opportunity to do so. At this time, Ms. Haddad, would you please introduce your family and any special guests who have joined you this evening?
Yeah, it's my special honor to introduce my family. I've done this for 28 years, and you can't do that without the support of your family, especially when the times are really tough, and they do get tough on the school board. And I've been through a lot of them, but they have been there through everything for me. So first, I would like to introduce my husband of 55 years. He's put up with me that long, Bob Haddad. My son, Bruce Haddad. His wife, Vicki Haddad. And my grandson, Derek Haddad, who graduated from Atherton High School, and both my children graduated from Manual. And my daughter, Camille Haddad Bowling. And my son-in-law, Kevin Bowling. My grandson, Parker Bowling, who graduated from Manual. And Hunter Bowling, he's hiding back there, and you can see he can't hide very much. He graduated from Manual. And Parker now is in Washington, D.C. at George Washington University. Derek is at JCTC, and Hunter is at Bellarmine, graduates of Jefferson County Public Schools. But I just can't thank them enough for all the time they've put up with me and have been there for me no matter what. I'm very fortunate to have such a wonderful family, as you can see. I've been blessed. Thank you.
Ms. Westland, would you please introduce your family?
My family here tonight is my husband, Paul Westland. Paul has, as Ms. Haddad said, you can't do this job without the support of someone, and generally it's your family. And I know in our home it's taken up a couple of rooms of our house, all the documents, and he's always been very patient and very helpful, always watches this on TV. And if you all can believe it, he even sometimes tells me I'm wrong. He gets away with it. But thank you, Paul, so much for your support, and it's meant a great deal to have you there. And my daughter Emma, who's at Indiana University, an Atherton graduate, Parker's age, went to middle school with him, and she has a final in the morning at 8 a.m. in voting and public opinion. So I think she's had a little bit of a little example of what that's like over the last 8 years, so hopefully that'll help her do well. But anyway, thank you for being here, Paul, And want to thank everybody for your support, all the board members. It's been great to work with you, and the ones who aren't here that I knew, Joe and still know, Steve and Larry and Ms. Elmore, who always had a great summary of everything at the end of meetings. She did a great job. And Carol, I just want to say what an inspiration you've been and what a friend you've been. It's been great to work with you, and your persistence and your toughness and your caring, something I really learned from, and I know we'll be friends. So,
Thank you.
I would thank you.
I would also like to thank everybody. I've been on the board for, tell you how long, 4 commissioners of education. Before that, they were elected, and then they were chosen. 5 superintendents, 40 board members, and a lot of wonderful people in Jefferson County Public Schools I've had the honor to work with. I love working with the board members. We don't always agree, but we do work together, and Debbie, you have been an inspiration too. And I'm glad you're going to help us with with legislation, because that is your niche, and you do such a good job. But it's been wonderful working with all of you. And like I said, we don't always agree. And the schools, I just can't say enough about them, and the work that they do in the schools every single day for every kid. And it's just been wonderful over the years, all the people I've met. I couldn't begin to count those. So thank you to everybody for all your support, even when you didn't agree with me, and I understand that. So, but I have really enjoyed it. It's been a great love that I've done, and I'm going to stay involved in early childhood and work with the PTA where I started out in 1967, and I'm going to help them in the clothes closet and do whatever I can. I've had other people ask me to help, but this has been the love, and I just love it, and I know it will be successful because we have great leaders. Thank you.
On behalf of the Jefferson County Board of Education and Superintendent Donna Hargens, we would like to present board members Carol Ann Haddad and Debbie Westland with a token of our appreciation for their years of service on behalf of the students, families of Jefferson County Public School District. We were able to provide these tokens of our appreciation by the kind donations of our partners, so I want to thank publicly the 15th District PTA, the Jefferson County Association of School Administrators, and the Jefferson County Teachers Association. So at this time, Ms. Haddad and members of the Haddad family, if you would come up for a presentation and a photo.
Ms. Westland, would you and your husband please join Ms. Porter for a photo and presentation?
I wanted to take a moment to thank both Debbie Westland and Carol Haddad for your years of service. But in particular, no slight to Debbie, because we'll be continuing to work together in the legislative process. Carol is a constituent of mine, and we've known each other for over nearly a quarter of a century. And so I thought this was a special time to recognize her and to let people know how wonderful her service has been. The idea that all you board members know of running for public office is something that at the same time is both interesting and challenging, but also darn tough. Because sometimes when you're in the public arena, you get bloodied, and you get beaten up, and you get criticized, and people say things about you that are untrue. So it's important for us to recognize anyone who steps into that arena should be honored. And I know that in the case of Carol, that you have done that because you have a deep passion for children and for education. And you've done it consistently through all these years. So I'm honored to read the citation from the Kentucky House of Representatives. And on the human side, I'll tell you that my wife and I knew the last time we had a citation this long was in the last 24 years of my service, was when Ron Mazzoli was honored in November as the #1 citizen of Snitzelburg. So I had to find some place where a special frame would fit this long citation. And in the months since that happened, Debbie and I couldn't realize where we picked up that frame. And over supper tonight, we realized it was at Michael's. So I'm going to take this back when I'm finished, Carol, and I'm going to get it framed for you.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll read it for you. The House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Kentucky hereby honors and recognizes Carol Ann Haddad for for 28 years of meritorious service as a vital member of the Jefferson County Public Schools Board of Education, where she has represented the interest of the schools, students, faculty, and staff of Educational Board District Number 6. Prior to her first election to the board in 1975, Mrs. Haddad had already been serving the district for nearly a decade. She began her service in 1967 as a member of the PTA at Audubon Elementary School in our district, where she served with great distinction for 7 years, including 2 years as the PTA president. She was also a PTA member at the Camp Taylor Elementary School in our district, Knoll Middle School, and the former Durrett in our district, and DuPont Manual High Schools. She helped clean up at Audubon Elementary School following the 1974 tornado. She tutored as part of Audubon's reading programs and served as manager for her daughter's softball team. She assumed a seat on the board for the first time in 1976 and served until 1980, and then was elected again in 1990 and held her seat for the next 24 years. Over the course of her long and distinguished tenure, Mrs. Haddad served as chairwoman of the board in 1993, 1994, and from 1999 until 2004, and as vice chairwoman in 1997, 1998, 1992 and 93, 1996 and 97, 2009 and 2010, 2013 and 2014. She is credited with having expanded teacher training throughout the district and was named one of the 5 finalists for the Broad Foundation Prize for Urban Education, which I understand is one of the most prestigious things that a school district can attain, and it's a nationally recognized competition. And so it's to be one of the 5 finalists is quite impressive. Inasmuch as Carol Ann Haddad has worked diligently on behalf of the students, faculty, and staff of the Jefferson County Public School District, and has served as a vital advocate for education and for the continued enhancement of educational opportunities provided to all the youth of Jefferson County, the members of this august body are deeply honored to join Representative Jim Wayne in extending sincere commendation and gratitude for her years of exemplary service to her community and her fellow men and women, in extending to her best wishes for continued success and good fortune in all her future endeavors. Done in Frankfort, Kentucky on this 15th day of December in the year 2014, and it's signed by Speaker Greg Stumbo and by me. So Carol, we honor you, and we honor your family who supported you through all these years, Bobby and all of you.
Board members, but before I start on Carol Haddad, I ought to, for the rest of the folks who've heard references to Debbie Westland, who will be, if she wraps up her board service doing legislative work, she'll be doing that for the Kentucky School Boards Association, and I'm one of the people that counts very happy about that. I'd also be remiss if I didn't note that at our Board of Directors meeting a couple of weeks ago, our board honored Linda Duncan for her, I believe, 6 years service on the KSB Board of Directors, representing you and all the children around the state. And we very much appreciate her efforts, as she's got a couple more months to go, and so we want to say thank you for that. Several of you were at our winter conference, and you heard, as I did, a speaker who talked about somebody in his life whose positive works had affected the lives of millions. And I would suggest to you all tonight and to your guest here that the work that Carol Haddad has done, it's not a stretch to suggest that it has affected millions of people. I moved to this community 30 years ago. There's not a day of my life that it is not improved by a Jefferson County school graduate. Could be a doctor, could be a lab tech, could be a police officer, a store manager, could be a plumber, could be a CPA. You add all that up over 30 years, and that has the potential of 10,000 good things happening in one person's life due to Jefferson County school graduates. I leave town and I've got a Jefferson County school graduate that lives on either side of me. They're watching my house, so it's still Jefferson County school graduates doing good things in my life. You take all the people in this community that have benefited from a graduate who has achieved whatever he or she has achieved because of, in no small part, the decisions and the work done by the members of the board, but especially by Carol in 28 years. I don't think it's a stretch at all to say that there's the potential for millions of people to be affected by the good works. So on behalf of the Kentucky School Boards Association, but also on behalf of the children of the state who you've been an advocate for, I'd like to say thank you and give you a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
I would like to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and again, thank you to Mrs. Haddad and Mrs. Westland for your service on the Jefferson County Board of Education.